Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm just about, I don't know, 30 seconds away from when it's really supposed to go live, but I thought I'd pop on just a tad bit early. And I see Ann and Jeffrey are here. Those of you that are just joining now, go ahead and let me know you're here. Say hi in the chats. That way I know who's here. Yes, happy Friday. It was a great Friday, Jeffrey. I stayed home and did nothing but stamp. Well, no, that's not true. I played a couple of games with my husband and I ate lunch. But other than that, I pretty much stayed in my craft room. This is one of the things I made today. And I made some projects for my next stamp camp in February. And I started working out details for a class in March. So it's been a very productive day. And it's beautiful outside too. Yeah, it was pretty heavy. I don't know about where you are, but it was pretty heavy over here, Jeffrey. The roads cleared up very quickly, but it was definitely perfect snowball weather. My dog felt lazy today. She did not want to go chase snowballs, I guess, but it was perfect snowball weather. And I hear we've got a couple more storms coming up. But we are, it is 7:31 now, and so I'm going to get started and show you how to make this card. So I wanted to combine something new with something old. And so I've used the Adorable Owls, which are a celebration item from this year. And I've combined it with the aspen tree dies. And so that goes with the Perched in a Tree set. I'm not going to do it, but what got me on this track was I used this branch from Perched in a Tree for a project that I'm doing at tomorrow's stamp camp, which you'll both be at, Ann and Jeffrey. And I think it was this tree branch. I'm pretty sure it was. So that got me thinking, oh, let's, an owl could go on a branch too, but then I decided, oh, not do the branch. I saw something like, I saw this idea somewhere else. And so I thought I would do it, put my own little spin on it with the blues. It just mimics to me the world I saw outside today. Just a beautiful, beautiful, crisp kind of wintry day. My favorite kinds. So to get started, this is on a base of thick basic white. However, I'm going to let you tell me whether or not, so first of all, it will always look this way on the front. The question I have for you is, do you want it to be white inside, or do you want a Tahitian Tide inside with some other parts? So you guys can go ahead and vote in the comments. Hi Sheila, glad you could make it. But as I mentioned, the front is going to look like this because our tree layer, I've already gone ahead and die cut this. So here's the aspen tree dies. I just took a piece of cardstock that measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 and die cut my trees. So I ran that through my die cutting machine. So that covers up the whole card front. And Jeffrey is saying, let's go with the colored one. And you know what? Good choice, because then you can have, you have two to kind of compare. So I can put this on just like this, but I thought I would dress it up a little bit because we have sparkling snow. Now, I first thought, let's go ahead and get out my Tahitian Tide Designer Series paper. So it comes in the 2022 to 2024 in color Designer Series paper pack. And this kind of mimics snow in the background. So I almost did that. Mostly because I couldn't find my glimmer paper, but then when I was looking for my dies, I found my glimmer paper in with my dies, which I'm not sure why they were there, because that's not really where they belong. So I pulled out this, and this is a variegated look. So it's darker on one end and lighter on the other. So as night sets, it's usually lighter down here at the horizon and darker at the top. So that's the orientation I'm going to use for it. Let's go ahead and I'm going to cut this piece what I would call typical layer size. So 4 by 5 1/4. So I want it to be 4 inches when it's held in portrait. And I'm gonna cut off the lighter end, and I want it 5 1/4 in the other measurement. So 4 by 5 1/4. And all these measurements are over on my blog, and the blog did go live at 7:30 when I went live here. The video replay will not be ready until, I don't know, probably half an hour at least after I end. It's just, that's the way it is with YouTube. So I'm gonna pull back in my card front, and I'm gonna glue this piece on. So it's a very thick, and you can die cut this, but it is a pretty thick piece of paper, this glimmer paper, but it's very smooth. It doesn't come off on your hands, so you're not going to be sparkling everywhere, which quite frankly, when we used to have the kind of stuff that rubbed off, it was kind of nice, like you were ready to go out, even if you didn't really plan it that way. Now I'm going to take my basic white piece that I had previously die cut, and I'm going to put some dimensionals on that. I'm really going to use up my last couple from this sheet, just my edges. And sometimes on the edges they are a little hard to get off. I got this one too. Did anybody else get to stay home today? Friday is usually a day that I should be taking off, but I just always seem to go in because, truth be told, I'm probably a workaholic. But I like what I do. And I certainly do it at a fairly leisurely pace on Fridays. So I work for a church, for those of you that don't know, and one of the things I do on Fridays is I stuff the programs for what some people call the bulletins for Sunday morning. And I have had volunteers do that in the past, but I kind of like it. It's sort of like mindless work, but I like doing it. You know what? I put this on the wrong side too. Darn it. Oh well, that's okay. That is okay, because it goes either way. All right. Oop, I'm gonna... I can't get it off here. Okay. So there is the front of my card. Now we need to add some owls. So I'm going to bring in my Adorable Owls set. This is a celebration item. It is free with a $50 purchase. And then I'm going to stamp with Memento Black because we're going to be coloring with the blends. So I just have a piece of basic white scrap here. And now I'm going to color him. So I just got some Tahitian Tide blends, and I'm going to make this owl's eyes Tahitian Tide. I love this color blue. It reminds me of, there are just some people that have the most amazing blue eyes that you just get drawn and you want to stare at them. That's this color, I think. And let's see, we're going to bring in a light daffodil delight. Color in his beak and his feet. And then we need something in the brownish tones. Let's see, I think I put mine away. Hold on. I'm going to be using these tomorrow at my stamp camp, so I put them away. Got to remember to do that after I'm done with them tonight. I'm going to start with a light, and I have already done another owl because you didn't want to watch me color and cut out. So I've done another owl, and I used the natural tones. So I don't know, about a year or so ago, Stampin' Up! Came out with some natural tones meant for, you know, all sorts of different color skin tones. And so a lot of these are in the brown and beige kind of look. And so I used a couple of those, and I forgot, one was 800, I think, and one was 300. I don't know. I don't remember. But I used a couple of those on this guy. But I wanted them to have different coloring. So now I'm using Crumb Cake. And Crumb Cake is actually the one I love most for these owls. So they color up pretty quickly. You'll notice that I am coloring with the bullet tip end. When I want to color quickly, you can use either end, but you have to be a little bit more careful and delicate with the brush tip end. Otherwise you can damage it. So you want to have a light touch. So if you do not have a light touch and you know that you can't have a light touch, then you should always be using the bullet tip end and not the brush end. It does take a little bit longer because the brush tip end is, and I'll use that now, you can just do a lot more, but you have to have a very light touch because you don't want to ruin it, ruin the tip. Because if you ruin that tip, then it doesn't get to go in places where you want it to go. So I'm going to go ahead. Now the other good thing about this brush tip is it's got a very fine point, so you can easily get into those really detailed areas. Now, usually I like to begin with a light layer in here, but for sake of time, I'm just going to do this darker area. Now, I will want to shade, and you can, with the blends, you can layer it on and just keep going over the areas to get some shading. You don't have to use a different color, but you can. So oftentimes you can use the light and the dark together. Right now I am just gonna use the dark out here. Now, because I've already colored on part of it, I'm gonna come back in with the other tip just so I can bear down a little bit more. And I'm gonna color along this edge a little bit more. It just increases the tone there, and so it looks like his head's a little bit more rounded. So any place where I think there should be a shadow, like under his wing and around the bottom of his body, I'm going to outline a little bit, maybe on parts of his wing. And you can just keep laying in that color, and it blends very nicely together. And so then, and it doesn't look as though, we have certainly not been told, it doesn't look as though we're going to be getting any second release of Celebration items. In the past, they have done that. And I can't say for sure that we're not going to. If I had my wish and we got a second release, so in February, some new things got added. If I had got my wish, we would have some dies that cut out these owls. But I don't know that that's coming. And he's really not that bad to cut out anyway. Fussy cutting to me is sort of like coloring. So if you don't like to color, you probably don't like to fussy cut. I'm going to show you, and I've shown you this trick before, but you want to avoid having some of the little white edges you know, that's the thickness of the paper, because that can kind of show on your project if you're fussy cutting and you leave just a little bit. But even if you don't leave a little bit from the outline, sometimes you do get to see the edge of the paper. And I'll show you a quick little way you can avoid that. And it really is just using your marker on the edge of the paper. I don't care too much about how good I get in with his hair. It's all spiky up there. I don't really care. It's a little rough cut, but my little trick at the end is gonna help with that. I'm gonna show you another little trick with putting this card together as soon as I get this one fussy cut. But you can see why I went ahead and I did one other owl, because nobody wants to see me color and fussy cut 2 owls in one video. Now between his feet there's a little white piece, and it really, I think this guy is gonna go up here, and now I've kind of messed it up a little bit because I had it flip-flopped on the other one. The trees were going the other way. And this one will be down here, I think. Doesn't matter which one goes where. But if you see his feet peeking out and you don't want that white, it's pretty easy to go in here, just cut between his feet and then cut this little triangle out. Easy peasy. Just don't cut his feet off. Although I suppose, you know, nobody would know or care if you did cut his feet off. All right, so you can see a little bit of this white edge here, and it would show, it's not going to show so much around this white, so it's not a big deal. But if you had it on a different color and you just wanted to make that disappear, you just make it disappear with the edge of the marker. And I'm really just coloring the edge or the thickness of that paper. Okay. So like this one, I can see I did a very bad job of cutting right here. So I just kind of come in and draw that in. Easy peasy. Something I forget to do sometimes, but it really does make a big difference. All right, so this guy is going to go in here. I can go ahead and put him on. I'm going to take a little bit of glue, and some of that glue is going to hit the trees somewhere. I know it. So there we have this guy. Look at those eyes. Are they not the prettiest eyes? Hi, Elaine. This one, I'm going to need a sentiment. So I'm going to bring in the black because, let's face it, that blue and the white just screams, I need some black with some white embossing. So I'm going to bring in some embossing. I'm going to get out my embossing additions toolkit. And let's see, what did I do with my embossing buddy? I had it out earlier. Should be in my tray. Oh, there it is. It fell out of my tray. So especially in the wintertime when things can get very staticky, or maybe you have in general oily hands, just go ahead and rub that guy right along there, and that takes out some of the static and it takes out some of the oils from your hands. I'm going to take the Hoot Hoot You're So Cute, and this is a much bigger piece than I need, by the way. But I'll deal with that in a little bit. Hopefully I got it straight. I'm probably not even stamping on camera, sorry. Yeah, that looks pretty straight. Might not be totally centered, but it looks pretty straight. And I'm going to put this right here. Looks like I missed a little bit on that first H. I flick over the back. You can use the reverse tweezers to hold it if you want to. My eyes, I'm having a bad eye day today, so I can't tell if much is going on with this or not. I can't see really some stray specks. Fussy cutting was really a challenge. But I made it through. So I have this thing going on with one of my eyes that there's some folds in the cornea or something like that. I don't know. It's got some sort of name for it. And it makes things kind of wavy. So I went to the eye doctor's last week, and when, you know how they test each eye individually, I could not, without my glasses, I could not read even the top line. With my glasses, I could not really read the top line either, although I did read it a little bit better. I missed one letter, I think. So the wavy thing, glasses doesn't help. So sometimes if I'm having a bad day with my eyes, I'm really just closing one eye so I can cut. Now, fortunately, you don't know this about me, but you're about to learn. I can only close one. If I'm closing one eye, I can only close my right eye, which is the affected eye. So that's good. So like people wink, most people can wink with both eyes. I cannot. I can only wink with one eye. You should see me try, and I'm not putting myself on camera for this, but you should see me try to wink with the other eye. When I was a kid, I did some competition air rifle. I competed with air rifles, and I had to learn how to shoot left-handed because I can't close my left eye. So I had to train my eye to be dominant, train my left eye to be dominant because I could only close my other eye because I really didn't want to watch I didn't want to wear a patch because it was junior high and, you know, nobody wants to do that. Yes, Jeffrey, that is correct. All right, so we've got this. I think we need some more dimensionals. So I'm going to figure out where to put this guy. Now I want this wing to overlap. To do that, here's a little trick. See this little line in here, what basically is armpit? Probably you call it a wing pit, right? I don't know. You're gonna stick that right in there like that. And so then he's good to go. See? Or she, whatever. And so that's what we're gonna place right there. And you can angle her however you'd like. So I'm gonna keep that together. And I'm gonna put some dimensionals on here, including one that overlaps them right there. And so the person that I had seen do something like this, she used a kind of a red glimmer background, probably sweet sorbet, and she had cut out some hearts. That framed florets die set, one of the dies cuts out an oval that has a bunch of little hearts around it. And so she took one of those little hearts and put them each on one of those owls. But I didn't want to get too lovey-dovey with these guys because I'm probably not going to give this to my husband. I guess I could. But anyway, so here's the outside. Super cute, right? I'll have to go back and look and put on my blog who to give credit to for that one. For the inside now, I'm going to take that Tahitian Tide, I can't say it, and I'm going to cut that to 4 by 5 1/4. 6 by 6 is really a great size to do because it's a nice layer. A 4-inch piece is a nice layer, and then you've got another 2-inch piece that you can use also. We're going to attach this, and oh, I kind of like this one too, but I'm going to mimic the snow and I'm going to use the other side. I'll just turn this over. Now, speaking of paper, so this designer paper is not part of it, but I announced this past week, midweek, that I was doing a paper share. And so I will take every pattern, every new pattern of all the papers in the mini catalog and the Celebration catalog and split them up so that you get a 6x6 piece of every pattern. And that's what's called a paper share. And that paper share is a great way to get all the patterns, because if you were to buy everything separately, you would be spending $200 to buy all the papers. And while, I mean, it's great to have all that paper, but that's a lot of paper to use up. And, you know, let's face it, $200 on just paper. How about the stamp sets? So here's another piece of basic white that I can just mount inside, and I can write a little love note to whoever is getting this card, or maybe it's a birthday card for a little kid. You can, you know, you can do lots of things with this. I'm going to take my owl, and I don't really know what I'm doing with this yet, so I'm just going to take my little owl here and stamp them in the bottom, just in the Tahitian Tide, just to tie it all together. And we will, and if you can't find your paper trimmer for tomorrow, no worries, I will have mine. You just might have to share. All right. So decorated inside, decorated outside. If I had thought about it, what I would have done is made this Tahitian Tide piece 1/4 inch smaller in each direction, because then that would have left a 2 1/4 inch strip by 6, which is perfect for doing the back of the envelope. But I didn't think about that. So anyway, so there is our cute, cute little card. This guy's got green eyes, granny apple green eyes. And you know what? He's a little wiggly right there. So I think I probably, you know what? I'm going to put a dimensional on, I think. Because the rest of him is on with a dimensional. There we go. Now he doesn't wiggle as much. But really cute card. So as I mentioned, paper share. If you are interested in the paper share, where, you know, everybody is sharing, that's the nature of a paper share. If you are interested in doing that, it is $35 for those of you who are local and will do a local pickup. If you want me to mail it to you, it is $40. And again, you're getting one 6x6 sheet of every pattern in both the mini catalog and the Celebration catalog. So you're going to be getting, I think it is, I forgot what I said, but it's over 100 sheets of paper, 6x6 paper. So then that will include the fine shimmer paper and the animal print and the vellum basics. I'm also including the Memories and More cards and envelopes. You'll get one of each of those with the envelope. So all the papers, and it'll be packaged up and ready for you to use. It's a great way to figure out which patterns and which papers you like, because you can't always tell the beauty of them in the catalog. For instance, this paper from the Celebration, beautiful, much more pretty in person than it is in the catalog. And it looks pretty good in the catalog, but it's even better in person. So that's the paper share. And also, I just wanted to remind everyone that this is my 22nd anniversary. Well, I just celebrated my 22nd anniversary with Stampin' Up. And so anyone placing a $22 or more order with me during the month of January will be entered to win either a Stampin' Score tool or a Stamparatus. I almost forgot. So Anne, I will link it on my Facebook page, but there is a sign up form. Or you can just see me tomorrow, and we can handle it that way as well. So with Anne, that I've got 4 people. I'm looking for 8, but it runs no matter what. It's running even with a 4. And truth be told, I already ordered the paper, so it's a go. All right, I think that's it, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I hope you have a fantastic weekend, and I will see some of you tomorrow. Are you going to use your speech bubble stamp inside? And Elaine, that's a great idea, but no, not tonight. But I might get it out. Good idea. Thanks for joining me. Again, if you are placing an order, this is the new host code. It will be live. I will be sending something out in an email tomorrow anyway. Tomorrow, Sunday, something like that. Thanks for joining me. Have a great weekend, everybody.